Wouldn't be Ryan the Great, and today we are talking March Madness, guys. And yeah, it's one of my favorite times of the year. I know I haven't talked, I think, any college basketball this season, but don't you guys worry. I have been keeping up to date on just about everything in college basketball. I'm very excited for March Madness. I love it's my favorite time of the year. So yeah, I do have my picks already picked. I have it on ESPN's tournament challenge bracket, but I'm just going to put it on a paper bracket now. I have that, I guess, documented. I don't really know. But let's just get right into it. But before we get right into it, guys, make sure you guys subscribe with your post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brother, the Great Vlogs. Make sure you guys go subscribe to my second channel at Ryan the Guy Great. Make sure you guys go find me on X or on the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go find me on TikTok at Ryan the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go listen to the latest edition of the Star 7 podcast. And make sure you guys go find me on Twitch at Ryan the Great Podcast. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's go on the video and let's roll that intro. Wouldn't be Ryan the Great, and today it'll be intercepted! The defensive line. What the hell are you doing? No effort whatsoever when it came to the defense. Bat, he is 0 for 2 today. Come on, Stotty. Stop! 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 Red slam! First pitch! Bring him in! Braxton! Stop! Woo! Ring that! Yes! Oh, damn. 1, 2, 3. What? Alright, let's start the video. So, the way we're going to do this is we're just going to go down the bracket. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the East, and we're going to predict, until the final team in the East comes out, and the final 4 team, and then we'll go to the West. We'll do the same thing. We'll go to the South, and we'll do the same thing, and then the Midwest. And then we'll predict the Final 4, and then we will predict the National Championship. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right in the video. So starting off, UConn versus Stetson, the 1 seed versus the 16th seed. I think obviously we know what we're going to go here. We're going UConn, the best team in college basketball right now. We obviously are going to have to take UConn here to defeat Stetson. Next game, Florida Atlantic, the 8th seed versus the 9th seed Northwestern. This is a pretty tough game for both teams. This is definitely a toss-up game. Obviously, last year, Florida Atlantic made the Final 4. They were the Cinderella team. Are they the Cinderella team this year? I think they do get this win. I think they're very good when it comes to rebounding. They don't turn the ball over a lot. I am a fan of their center. What's his name? Golden, I believe. I am a fan of him. Northwestern, I think they shoot the ball pretty well. Overall, they're a pretty good team. They definitely have the chance to beat Florida Atlantic. But I am going to take Florida Atlantic here because I'm not entirely sure that Northwestern is going to be able to shoot the ball that well against Florida Atlantic because of the fact that they are such a good rebounding team and they get not a lot of second chance opportunities. So I am going to take FAU to defeat Northwestern. Next, we have San Diego State versus UAB. Now, this is a 5 versus 12 game, so if you guys are predicting your brackets, make sure you are careful with this one. San Diego State, I think that they do really, really well. They're a very good defensive team. They're one of the best defensive teams in this tournament. They defend the perimeter very, very well. I think that, they're not the biggest team in the world, which does create a bit of a problem, but good for them because UAB is also not that big in size as well. Just because of that, I am going to take San Diego. Well, not just because of that, but I am going to take San Diego State here to defeat UAB. And then next we have Auburn versus Yale. Listen, I feel like people are debating this one a little too much. Auburn is the way better team here, and Auburn should be predicted to make some noise in this tournament. They just won the SEC championship. They just beat a good Florida team while their big man went down. I don't forget his name. But Auburn is one of the best teams how do I say it? They're one of the best teams on both sides of the ball in this tournament. I think that they should easily beat a team like Yale, who had to go, who was in the Ivy League. They didn't have to go up against Princeton. I am going to take Auburn here in this game. Next, we have BYU versus, I don't know how you say this team's name. I'm going to, Duquesne? I really hope I said that right. I really hope I did. I feel like this one's not that obvious because BYU, you don't really know what you're going to get out of them. I think that, they shoot the ball well. They can, they move around the floor very, very well. They stretch the ball out. I feel like they have a half-decent bench, but their starting five is nothing really to be, happy about. But this team, Duquesne, I don't really know much about this team here. I think they won their conference tournament, but I'm not, that's not really much of a say here. This one's a bit of a toss-up in my opinion, but I am going to take BYU here just because I like the way that they play with their bench. Next, we have Illinois and Morehead State. Now, this is a very big matchup here because you want to know what I'm doing? I'm going with the underdog. I am going to take Morehead State here to beat Iowa. Illinois here. I'm not the biggest fan of this Morehead State team, but they are very, very, very dangerous. When they play their game, they cannot lose. They handle the ball very, very well. They don't turn it over that much, and they are going to pull out a big upset here. Illinois, a team that, is good, but I don't think they really excel too much They don't really excel at much here. I think that their offense is very, very good, but it's not, you don't really, when you look at it against other top offenses in this tournament, I don't really think you say that this is, an offense to say is really, really good. Their defense, I think, is very underrated, but I think Morehead State here, they're going to be pumped up for this game. I think they're going to be able to pull this one out here. Next one, we have Washington State and Drake. Listen, I think too many people here are taking Washington State. Drake has one of the best offenses in this tournament right now. I think this one's pretty obvious in my opinion. I don't know why Drake wasn't ranked a bit higher. I thought they maybe should have gotten an 8th seed. But yeah, I'm going to take Drake in this one here. Next, Iowa State and South Dakota State. This is pretty obvious in my opinion. Iowa State just won the Big 12 over a first seed in Houston. They definitely can make a big run in this tournament. The Big 12 is the most aggressive conference in the in college basketball. So when you take that into consideration, you just have to take into effect how the referees are going to, call this game. Are they going to let fouls go? Are they going to give a lot of fouls? I think referees are going to understand that Iowa State plays a very aggressive style of defense here, and I don't think a South Dakota State offense that, is nothing special at all. I don't think they're going to be able to handle that Iowa State defense, so I'm going to take them to pull this one out. And now continuing here, so I'll move back up to the top. We have UConn versus FAU. While I did say a lot of good things about FAU here, there's no way they beat UConn. Once again, UConn, one of the best offenses in this entire tournament. They're the best overall team in this tournament. I'm a big Tristan Newton guy. I really like him. He shoots the ball pretty well. Cam Spencer, I'm a big Donovan Clingan fan. I really liked him last year, backing up Sanango in the tournament last season. I'm a big Donovan Clingan guy. I'm going to take UConn here against FAU. And next, we have San Diego State going to take on Auburn. Now, once again, as I said earlier about San Diego State, I like this team here. They're one of the best defensive teams here in this tournament, but Auburn plays the pace, and plays their game to the pace they like it, and I don't think any team in this tournament can really stop that. Maybe minus UConn, but I kind of maybe just gave my pick away, but whatever. I'm going with Auburn here because I don't think that no matter how good the San Diego State defense is, Auburn plays at a pace that I don't think anybody can stop. So that's why I'm going to take Auburn. Next, we have BYU here versus Morehead State. Listen, I'm not a big fan of both of these teams. I just think Morehead State had a really good matchup here against Illinois. BYU is a good team in my opinion, but there's just nothing special about them, as I said. I think they're good. They're just not that good. So I am going to take BYU here. Not because they're such a great team and they can make a run. It's just because the tournament was definitely set up for them to make a half decent run here. So I am going to take BYU. Next, we have Drake versus Iowa State here. Listen, while I did give Drake's offense a lot of credit, there's no way that they can beat this Iowa State defense. I mean, once again, one of the most aggressive defenses in this tournament right now. I don't think that Drake offense, while good, I don't think they're going to be able to score much on this Iowa State defense. I think this is a very intriguing matchup when the X factor would be Drake's offense versus Iowa State's defense here. I am going to take Iowa State though with the victory. All right, so next we have UConn versus Auburn. I have given Auburn a lot of credit in this tournament here, but I'm not betting against the UConn Huskies at this current moment in time. Once again, I'm a big Tristan Newton guy. I really like Donovan Clingan. I think Auburn, I'm not sure they have the size that UConn does have at this current moment in time. I like their guys right now. I'm just not, I don't know. I just don't think that they're going to be able to defend the inside against UConn. I think they will be able to defend that shooting against guys like Tristan Newton. But Tristan Newton can play really anywhere on the floor. So I think that you really have to take UConn here to win this. BYU versus Iowa State. This is pretty obvious here. As I mentioned, BYU doesn't really have the best offense. They don't really have the best anything. Well, as I just mentioned, they were set up to go half decently far in this tournament. Iowa State is going to easily beat BYU here. So I will take them to face UConn in the, the Elite Eight. So I'm going to take UConn here. Once again, while Iowa State has one of the best defense. Oh, shoot. Oh, my goodness. I just switched my pick here on ESPN's tournament thing. Oh, shoot. That's my bad. Oh, shoot. Okay, I think hopefully my bracket doesn't change here. But anyway, or hopefully I don't have to resubmit it. Anyway, I'm gonna take UConn in this one here. I think this is the one team that can take on Iowa State's defense because they are probably the best team overall in this tournament here. And don't discount UConn's defense at all. This is a team in the Big Ten tournament, not the Big Ten tournament, the Big East tournament that, they held the Marquette offense that is very, very good to a low amount of points, especially in the first half. I am going to take UConn here to get to the Final Four. And then, hopefully, Okay, my bracket's not messed up here. So now we're going to move down to the West here. So we have to do this play-in game here, or whatever they call it, the first 4 games. So we have Howard versus Wagner. I don't really know who to pick here. I'm just going to pick the better record here. So I'm going to take Howard in this one, but it doesn't really matter. They're not beating North Carolina, one of the best teams in this tournament offensively. Anybody can score the ball on the floor for them. I'm going to take North Carolina. Next, Mississippi State versus Michigan State. Listen, I don't really think Michigan State has any business being a 9th seed. I think they should be lower than that. I think, Mississippi State, they beat Tennessee this season, who is a 2 seed right now. And, they beat a lot of good teams this season. As I just mentioned, I don't think Michigan State has any business being a 9 seed right now. I think they were ranked a little too high. So I am going to take Mississippi State to beat Michigan here. I always spell Mississippi wrong, so I'm just trying to make sure I spell that right. Next, this is a bit of a interesting matchup. We have St. Mary's versus GCU, Grand Canyon. Listen, a lot of people are taking GCU here. I wouldn't really say that you shouldn't take them, but the St. Mary's team is really, really hot. They haven't lost too many games this year. They've been hot. They beat Gonzaga. Let's see, here's their last few. They beat Gonzaga. They also lost to Gonzaga. They beat San Francisco. They have a few wins over Gonzaga here, who is a 5 seed right now and has a chance to go deep into this tournament. I think that they play a lot of pace and space ball. I do like this St. Mary's team here, and I'm going to pick them to beat GCU. All right, next we have Alabama versus Charleston. I'm not a big fan of this Alabama team, I'm not going to lie, but this Charleston team is not really that good at all. Charleston, they do have a good rotation. I think they play 10-man. I'm not too sure. They play a lot of their bench guys. I do know that, but I think it is a 10-man rotation. What do you call it? They take care of the ball really well here. But Alabama, I don't think they're going to be able to outscore this team right now. I think that Alabama, is one of the best teams when it comes to efficiency in this tournament. So yeah, I am going to take Alabama here just because I don't think this Charleston team is going to be able to outscore them. Next, we have Clemson versus New Mexico. This is a tough one. Listen, a lot of people like this New Mexico team, and there is good reason why. They are 26-9 on the year. They have a half-decent team. They're on a hot streak right now. I love picking teams that get really hot. They won their tournament they're in the Mountain West. Yeah, they're in the Mountain West. They have a very good offense. I will definitely give them that here. But their experience here is what I am going to, I am going to take away, I guess you could, I'm going to critique them for, I guess you could say. I don't think they're the best defensive team in this tournament. They have a pretty good offense here. But Clemson, they are a very good team when they make shots here. If they can make shots from the three, they do a very good job. Now, while I don't particularly like this Clemson team that much, I think that, the lack of perimeter defense, or maybe not lack of, but the fact that New Mexico doesn't play the best perimeter defense in this tournament, I am going to take Clemson in this tournament and this win here. Next, we have Baylor versus Colgate. I think this is a pretty obvious one. Baylor, they have the experience here. Jacoby Walker, I like him. Dennis, I like him as well here. There's nothing really that good about this Colgate team. They're always a contender whenever they make the March Madness tournament. I think that they are very efficient. They shoot the ball very, very well. This Colgate team's just not going to be able to stop them in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to take Baylor, and a pretty big win, actually, here. Next, we have Dayton versus Nevada. This is a toss-up here. Both teams, I think both teams have a very good opportunity because both teams are not that experienced when it comes to going far in this tournament here. Dayton is a very good team when it comes to shooting the basketball. I think that Nevada is the better overall team, and that comes to pretty much everything on the floor, which is going to, let me pick them or, give them a higher chance of winning this game. I'm not necessarily sure who to pick. I think Dayton can definitely win this game here, but I am going to take Nevada. Next, we have Arizona versus Long Beach State. I'm going to be honest, I don't even know who Long Beach State is. I've never heard of that school a day in my life. That's no disrespect to anybody there because they could run circles around any team that I've ever been on. But this Arizona team, second in the country right now, they're a very experienced team, and, this Long Beach State team really has no business facing Arizona. They're so inexperienced when it comes to this stuff. Arizona has the experience there. I'm going to take them pretty easily. All right, so now we have North Carolina versus Mississippi State. Listen, I like Mississippi State's team. I think they're very good and all, but I just can't see them beating this North Carolina team. You don't really see... You kind of do see Mississippi State. Their defense is talked about a little bit, especially on the perimeter, but they don't have anybody that can defend Big Cat, man. That guy is good. He can rebound the ball very, very well. I don't think Mississippi State is going to be able to stop that, so I am going to take North Carolina to win this one here. And then St. Mary's versus Alabama. Listen, as I mentioned, I'm not a big fan of this Alabama team, but St. Mary's coming off probably a tough win over GCU because that game's not going to be easy. I think Alabama will handle Charleston pretty easily. And because of that, I think Alabama will be a little more ready for this game. I'm not saying they're so much better than St. Mary's, but what I am saying is that they will be rested up. They will be prepared for this game. So I am going to take them over St. Mary's. Clemson versus Baylor. I don't think this one will be close. I'm taking Baylor pretty easily. Once again, Baylor is just overall the better team. They are one of the best offensive teams in this tournament right now. Clemson, they're a half-decent team when it comes to defense. You don't really see that much when it comes to, defense, but I don't think they'll be able to defend this Baylor team. Also, Baylor is a pretty half-decent defensive team as well. They're very well-rounded. I think that they'll be able to make Clemson miss shots, and when they do miss shots, I don't think that they're typically good in winning games. So I think I'm going to take Baylor here to win this one. Not think, I am going to take them. Nevada versus Arizona. Listen, there's nothing too special about this Nevada team. They really don't have they really wouldn't have any business being here in this second round facing a team like Arizona. Neither would Dayton. So no matter what in this, no matter like who, no matter who gets there, I think Arizona will easily win this game. So now we have North Carolina versus Alabama. Listen, once again, I'm not the biggest fan of this Alabama team. I think that North Carolina will handle them pretty easily here. I think Alabama was pretty well set up to go to the Sweet 16. Even if they face Grand Canyon, I'm not sure if they would win, because I'm not saying St. Mary's going to easily beat Grand Canyon. I think if Alabama does end up facing Grand Canyon, they could end up losing that game, but I am going to take them to go to the Sweet 16 in North Carolina. They can't defend really anywhere. They can defend half decently well, but they're not going to be able to defend a team like North Carolina who can shoot, who can shoot jumpers, they can shoot threes, they can get in the paint, they can really do everything. I'm going to take North Carolina here. And now Baylor versus Arizona. This one is a toss-up in my opinion, because I think that both teams are very, very well experienced here. I don't know. I don't know. I just like Baylor's players a little bit better. I think they play a little bit better as a team. I think that they have a better head coach in Scott Drew. I think, that is definitely a factor there. So I am going to take Baylor to win this game. So then North Carolina versus Baylor. Now, once again, I really like both teams. I think both teams are very, very good, but I just like something about North Carolina a little bit better. Once again, their ability to do everything on the floor. When experience doesn't really matter in this moment, because this is the biggest stage. You get really, the Elite Eight is one of the biggest stages, minus the Final Four in the championship. So you really can't take experience much into the equation here, because both teams are hot at this point. They're on their highest game, so I am going to take North Carolina here, because when they get hotter, I think that they are able to dominate a lot more. Now moving over to the South Conference here, we have our very first game, Houston versus Longwood. Listen, Houston coming off a Big 12 championship loss. I don't think that, they're destined for a very far run in this tournament here. But I don't think Longwood has any business, messing with Houston. So I'm going to take Houston to win this game. And next we have Nebraska versus Texas A&M. I think this is a toss-up here, in my opinion. Nebraska, I think that they are very good on both sides of the ball. That's what you need to win games. And I think that's something that, takes them further is their shooting of the basketball. I think they do that a lot better than Texas A&M. They don't really ever get cold from the three-point line. They shoot the ball very, very well, which is going to lead me to take having them over Texas A&M in this game. I'm not too familiar with this Texas A&M team. I am a little familiar with this Nebraska team. I like the way they shoot the basketball, so I am going to take them in this game. Next we have Wisconsin versus James Madison. Now listen, this James Madison team is 31-3. That is nothing to sneeze at. I don't care really who you're facing, or what tournament or what conference you're in. That's very good, for any team. They have a win over Michigan State from earlier this season, in their very first game. They, really shocked everybody by beating Michigan State, who is a 9 seed in this tournament. While I don't think they should be there, I think that they're still a 9 seed, so it's something to look at here. I think James Madison is a very good defensive team, and I don't think Wisconsin is ready for that, because, who did they face in the Big Ten championship game? I don't even remember. Who won the Big Ten championship? Who the hell won the Big Ten championship? Did Wisconsin win? No, Wisconsin lost. Wait, hold on. This is annoying me. Wait, who won the Big Ten championship? I was literally watching that game. I just forget. Big Ten basketball tournament. Who won? No. Oh my goodness. Illinois, that's it. Yeah, Illinois won the Illinois won the tournament final. Yeah, right. Am I tripping? No. Yeah, Illinois won, right? I think. Yeah. Yeah, Illinois won. Yeah. So anyway, coming off, their performance against Illinois, I remember watching that game. I don't know how I didn't. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I think in this tournament, I think that the fouls will not be called as often. So I think that James Madison will play a little bit better here, or they'll have the advantage in that category. I think that they have to get the ball into the paint. They have to play very aggressive on offense as well because they cannot shoot the ball for nothing. So I'm going to take James Madison here to beat Wisconsin. So it's with 1D. Okay, Duke and Vermont. Listen, you guys know how much I hate Duke, but Vermont has no chance against Duke. As much as I hate to say it, there's no way they beat Duke. I don't even have to give analysis. There's no way they beat Duke. I'm going to take Duke here in this one. Next, we have Texas Tech versus NC State. Listen, NC State, man, they're a good team, but I think Texas Tech is, a little bit better here. NC State, while they do play defense half decently well here, there's not really much that you can say. Both teams have very good guards here, but I like the trio of guards for Texas Tech. I can't name them all off the top of my head. Let's see here. Actually, I have it. It's Pop Isaacs, Joe Toussaint, and Chase McMillan. I think that Texas Tech does struggle a little bit when it comes to defense. They're not the best defensive team. My camera just turned off. I don't know why. But yeah, I'm going to take Texas Tech in this game. I don't even remember the last thing I said. But yeah, I'm going to take Texas Tech. Next, Kentucky versus Oakland. Kentucky has a very good chance to go far in this tournament here, and that starts with Oakland. I forgot Oakland. Well, I obviously know the city of Oakland, but they just don't have a chance against. They just don't have a chance against Kentucky. Like I can't see it. Kentucky's so good offensively. Next, we have Florida versus one of these teams. So I'm going to take Colorado here. I think Colorado, they won a very good run here. And in a losing effort, I believe, to win in the in the Pac-12 championship. But they're very hot right now, and Florida is without their big man. I don't know. I forget his name. I forget the man's name. I really like. I like the way he plays. I just forget his name. Don't come at me for this one. I'm taking Colorado. All right, next we have Marquette versus Western Kentucky. Listen, I like this Marquette team. I'm a big fan of Iguodaro. I really like him. They get the ball inside very well. They play a lot of pace. They play at their own pace, which is a very fast-paced offense here. They get a lot of turnovers as well. This Western Kentucky team, I don't really think has much of a chance against Marquette, so I'm going to take them in this one. All right, so now we have Houston versus Nebraska. Guys, don't come at me for this one, but Houston. When they faced a really good defense in Iowa State, they crumbled. Nebraska has a very good defense. Let's not forget that. They also shoot the ball very well. I think when you combine all those things into a factor or into an equation, you get Nebraska beating Houston, so I'm going to take them. I think I spelled it right. I hope I did. So we have James Madison versus Duke here. Listen, I think Duke does everything really well here. Filipowski, is one of the best players in college basketball at this current moment in time here. They are on a bit of a cold streak when it comes to winning games here. I think that, the six-man lineup could eventually come back to bite them. But for right now, it's the second game in the tournament. They have a lot of rest coming into the tournament, so I don't think that will affect them that much. So I am going to take them here over James Madison. Next, we have Texas Tech versus Kentucky. Listen, as I said, Texas Tech is not the best defensive team in this tournament. which gives Kentucky just about everything to, all the tools to win this game here. Antonio Reeves averaging 20 points per game right now. I am a big DJ Wagner fan. He comes from Camden, New Jersey. St. Joe's Prep basketball coach, he coached him. I've seen DJ Wagner. He is what can be a great talent in college basketball, and in like 2 years, he is going to be a household name. I'm saying this right now. So I really like Kentucky's bench. I really like their guard play. So I am going to take them to win this game over Texas Tech. Next, we have Colorado versus Marquette. Listen, I don't think I don't think Colorado really has any business being in this game, because I think Florida should win this game, but their big man, who, whatever, I forget his name, is out. I don't think that they would be able to take on Iguodala. I don't think they'll be able to take on this pace of this Marquette team, so I am going to take Marquette in this one. All right, so next we have Nebraska versus Duke here. Now listen, this six-man lineup will once again catch on to Duke, but when Duke does get hot, they really can't be stopped. And by now, they would have already won 2 games here. And then when as I mentioned, when Duke gets hot, they really don't lose that much here. I think North Carolina is their Achilles heel, but at the worst, they would have to see them in the national championship. Nebraska, I really like their team here, but as I mentioned, when Duke gets hot, they really they are hard to stop here, so I'm going to take Duke here over Nebraska. Next, we have Kentucky and Marquette. As I mentioned, with Marquette, this is a very good team. They play at their own pace. They get a lot of turnovers, which helps them win, which also helps them with their pace. But Kentucky is very, very good offensively, which means they are not turning over the ball as much as Marquette would hope. I think that will impact Marquette in a negative way here, so I am going to take Kentucky to beat Marquette. All right, so next we have Duke versus Kentucky, a good old NCAA history rivalry of some sort, if that's what you really want to say here. Duke and Kentucky, very great teams. Have had a lot of history with NBA players here. As I mentioned, when Duke gets hot, they're hard to be stopped, but this six-man lineup can definitely catch up to them in a very, very competitive tournament in March Madness. As I mentioned, Kentucky, one of the best scoring teams in the NCAA, and in this tournament, I'm taking Kentucky in this game to get to the Final Four. Next, we're going on to the Midwest, which means we're going to start out here with Purdue. They are either going to face Montana or Grambling. Grambling has the better record here, so I will take them to beat Montana State, sorry. Now we have Purdue versus Grambling. Purdue, while they lost last season in the very first round, I don't think that'll happen again this year. I think they'll be on their A game for that game, but I don't see Grambling beating Purdue. Next, we have TCU versus Utah State. This is a toss-up, in my opinion. The 8 versus 9 seeds are always pretty hard to predict. Listen, I think that Utah State are very good at shooting the basketball. They're especially good when it comes to shooting the mid-range, but they're not particularly good at defending the inside. Kind of, at the wing and on the elbow and inside there. They're not really good defending there, and that's where TCU does like to play. They are a very, very, very fast team. They can get to the paint. They are also a very good rebounding team. So if TCU is able to make them miss, which is something that they do particularly well, I think that they will be able to play with a lot of pace here, which leads them to beating Utah State. Next, we have Gonzaga. I say Gonzaga, but apparently it's Gonzaga. I don't really know. Against McNeese. A lot of people are taking McNeese here, and with good reason, because Gonzaga doesn't really scream, really, really good team. Their best scorer right now is Graham Ike, averaging 16.5 points per game. McNeese, I'm not too familiar with their team. I've watched a little bit of them, but they're pretty half decent. They pass the ball very, very well. Will McNeese be able to keep up with that? I do think that they, turn over the ball. They get turnovers a lot pretty good. But I think, Gonzaga, with their experience, will be able to pass the ball pretty well, get easy shots. I'm going to take Gonzaga here, or Gonzaga, whatever, in this game. Okay, I'm thinking I'm predicting the second round here. All right, next we have Kansas versus Samford. Listen, I'm just going to say it outright. I'm taking Samford. I think a lot of people are, because even if Kansas does beat Samford, I don't think they get farther because they're injured right now. Everybody on this Kansas team, some of their best players, who is it? It's McCullough, right? McCullough and Dickerson, they are both injured. Those are their two best players at the current moment in time. Both of them are the top two scorers on this team, which leads me to believe that this Samford team right now, winners of one, two, or not, I'm sorry. They have a lot of good wins here. They don't even have, multiple wins here. But they're a very good team. They have they can get hot when they need to, and they're definitely going to need to get hot here in this tournament. And I think without McCullough and Dickerson, that this Samford team will be able to pull this out. Oregon versus South Carolina. Listen, this South Carolina team, 26-7, that's nothing to sneeze at. That's a very good record. I think they're a very basic team right now. There's nothing really that you could say is better than anybody in this tournament, or they're elite in this sort of category. But the Oregon Ducks right now, they're hot. And when you win the Pac-12 championship, which was kind of all over the place this season, the Pac-12 when it came to college basketball, I think that that does give Oregon a lot of momentum coming into this tournament, and I think that they will be able to excel. I think that they also have some experience. Their top leaders are seniors right now, Dante and Cousinard. I believe they're seniors. But anyway, they're good, but they're not really that good at not great at anything. They're just good at everything. Kind of like the South Carolina team, but with the momentum, I am going to take Oregon in this matchup. Next, we have Creighton versus Akron. Akron is not going to be able to handle this Creighton defense at all. Like Akron, I'm not too familiar with Akron. I obviously have heard of the school. But Akron does have this guy Freeman, who is averaging almost 13 rebounds per game. But he is going up against Kalkbrenner. That man can play defense. Reigning, defending, two-time Big East Defensive Player of the Year. That man can play on defense and on offense as well. I think he's averaging around 17 points per game. I don't think that this Akron team is going to be able to take on the big boys in Creighton. I'm taking them to win this game. Next, we have Texas versus either Virginia or Colorado State. I think Virginia's a little more experienced in this game. Colorado State has one more win than they do, but I'm just going to take Virginia in this one. But I don't think it'll matter because I don't see them beating Texas right now. Listen, this Texas team really doesn't have much to them, but neither do this Virginia or Colorado State teams, no matter who gets in there. But I am going to take Texas here. Not really much analysis to give. Next, Tennessee and St. Peter's. Listen, Tennessee not coming in too hot now, but the St. Peter's underdogs as a 15th seed just a few seasons ago here. They are a very, very good defensive team, this Tennessee team. They're half decent offensively, but their defense is kind of what carries them. This is a Cinderella team, though. In St. Peter's, they made the Elite Eight just a few seasons ago here. I think that they are definitely going to give Tennessee a challenge here, but there is nothing particularly that great about St. Peter's. All right, so continuing now. Tennessee, St. Peter's. I don't know why my camera keeps turning off. Anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah, so I'm going to take Tennessee in this one because I don't think the St. Peter's going to be able to take on this defense. Yeah, I'm good here. Okay. I'm just trying to spell this right. Purdue versus TCU. Purdue can't face the pressure, man. I also think that with Zach Edey, who probably is the best player in this tournament, I don't think that he's going to be able to take on this pace of TCU. Like, he's the best player, but he can't move. Like, he cannot run. And TCU plays with a lot of pace. So I'm going to take TCU. All right, next Gonzaga versus Samford. Listen, the only reason I took Samford is because of the fact that Kansas is very injured right now. Gonzaga, once again, while they are not really screaming special team, they're still a half decent team. There's still nothing to sneeze at. The 5 seed, is not a bad seed at all, but I think people look down upon it. I'm gonna take Gonzaga in this one, or Gonzaga. Sorry. A lot of people get mad at me when I do this. Oregon versus Creighton. Listen, I think Oregon is hot right now, but Creighton is just so good, man. Their defense is just absolutely incredible. Trey Alexander has been dominating when it comes to the three-point shot right now. They're a slower team because they have such a pulverizing defense. There's nothing special about them in transition, but when it just comes to 5-on-5 defense, they really play well. And because of the fact that they play very, very slow, I don't think Oregon will be able to create any pace against this team. So I am going to take Creighton in this one. I'm gonna spell it with a G. Listen, I'm not the best speller. I think once I made it like in 4th grade. I was like second in like some sort of class spelling bee, and I'm not good at spelling at all. Ever since then, I've just been terrible. Texas and Tennessee. Listen, as I mentioned, there's nothing special about this Texas team. I don't think that they'll be able to really handle anything about this Tennessee team. They have some talent, but they're just not good under pressure. They just don't feel pressure well. This is one of the most pressurized tournaments in the world. So, when you have to go up against a Tennessee team that has a pulverizing defense, I don't think you're really going to be able to handle that. So I'm going to take Tennessee in this one. All right, so next we have TCU versus Gonzaga. Once again, I think TCU was set up very, very well in this tournament. I think that they're probably going to eke out a win over Utah State here just because of the way they play defense. I think that, they're definitely set up very well to beat Purdue. I don't think Purdue is anywhere close to how TCU plays the game. They're just not on their level when it comes to it as a team. But when you talk about this Gonzaga team right now, they're very, very hot. While they don't have the NBA talent that they have had before, once again, I think the way they pass the ball, they play pretty similar to TCU. They don't have as much pace as TCU. But the way they pass the ball, I think we'll be able to slow down this TCU team. They're going to get tired here running around all the court. Gonzaga might make that extra pass just to tire them out just a little bit more here. I think Gonzaga will be able to, do that. As I mentioned, don't let the 5th seed, don't let it let you bet against Gonzaga this year or Gonzaga. So I'm going to take them here over TCU. Now, Creighton, Tennessee. Listen, both teams are very, 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 very good defensively. Their offense, they do play well on offense, Tennessee, but they're just not anything special, and they're not better than Creighton on offense. I think both teams will hold the opposing offenses to a low-scoring game, but Creighton's is a lot better on offense. While I've mentioned Kalkbrenner's defensive stuff, he is very good offensively. I really like Sherryman, Trey Alexander. These guys can really score the basketball here. I know Chignet, I think that's how you say his name, is averaging around 21 points per game, or maybe 20 points per game. I don't really remember. But, when it comes to playing as a team on offense here, I think that, Creighton outdoes Tennessee in this one, so I'm going to take Creighton. All right, so next we have Creighton versus Gonzaga. As I mentioned, I think that the way Creighton does play, they are able to really slow down any offense in the tournament, and that includes Gonzaga. Or wait a minute. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm sorry. It's supposed to be Gonzaga. It's supposed to be TCU versus Creighton. I don't know why I said Gonzaga. Why did I put down Gonzaga? It's supposed to be TCU. I gave a whole argument for Gonzaga, but I have TCU. Did I make a mistake? No, I don't think I did. I don't know. I made a whole argument for Gonzaga. I had a whole argument for TCU in my head. I don't know. I made an argument for Gonzaga, but then where did my argument for TCU go in my head? I don't know. Maybe my camera turning off just completely killed me. I don't know. But as I mentioned, starting with my argument, both Gonzaga and TCU, whichever one I wanted to pick, I think it was TCU because it says that on the bracket online here. I don't know. No matter what, if it is Gonzaga or TCU, I think that Creighton will be able to shut down this TCU. Not shut down, but they will be able to stop the pace. As I mentioned, Creighton can slow down any offense in this tournament. And I think there is no exception here for TCU. I think that Creighton will be able to slow down this offense here. I don't think that, their little passes and all, like the way Gonzaga is going to play against TCU, is going to be able to stop them. But I think that their shooting will. I think TCU plays very good when it comes to defending 2-point shots. Just they're not really that great when it comes to defending the perimeter, which is something that Creighton does excel in. So I am going to take Creighton here to win this one and go to the Final Four. So my Final Four here, so I have UConn coming out of the East, North Carolina out of the West, Kentucky out of the South, and Creighton out of the Midwest. So UConn versus North Carolina. This is tough here because both teams are half decently similar. But UConn, the best team in this tournament right now. They're better than North Carolina on the defensive end, which I do believe will help them win this game here. I think that Clingan versus Baycott. Listen, I think Baycott will do a half-decent job on the offensive end. I just think Clingan is going to shut him down in this game here. I am going to not shut him down, but, play him pretty well. I think UConn is going to win this game. Kentucky versus Creighton. So as I mentioned, Creighton can, slow down any offense. I don't think that matters for Kentucky. You can play 5-on-5. They can get back in transition. They can do everything in this Kentucky offense, which leads me, and while Creighton does shoot the ball well, I don't think that they can outscore this Kentucky offense, which I think is going to, be the decision factor in this game. As I said that Creighton can slow down any offense. I don't think that matters when it comes to Kentucky. So I'm going to take Kentucky to win this game and go to the national championship against UConn. And then in the national championship, I'm taking UConn, baby. There's no way I'm betting against the UConn Huskies in this tournament. I'm telling you guys right now, this is the best team in the tournament right now. I think that, this is going to be a very high-scoring game. And I think that, UConn is going to be able to get it down in clutch time. I think it's going to be a very close game. But when it comes to UConn right now, they're just a hot team coming off the win last season. This is definitely a toss-up game in my opinion. But I'm taking the UConn Huskies to win this entire tournament, repeating national champions. That'll do for this video, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brother Linda Ray Vlogs. Make sure you guys subscribe to my second channel at Ryan the Cod Great. Make sure you guys go find me on X at Renegade RTG. Make sure you guys go find me on TikTok at Renegade RTG. Make sure you guys go listen to the latest edition of the CR7 podcast, and make sure you guys go find me on Twitch at Renegade Podcast. And as always, Ryan the Great out. Peace.